Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another top 10. This is my list for my top 10 favorite games of 2021. It's that time of the year again. I was going to do this list sometime on Wednesday or Thursday because I wasn't going to be working, but my work is closed today. And no, it's not because we're locking down again, it's just for the day. Mainly because of this. So, that's why I am making this list earlier. So, I figured why not? My mom and sister are still at work. They were able to get out earlier before it started getting a lot worse. We got a lot more snow than expected. Anyways, let's get started. I do have a couple of honorable mentions. First off, I'm not going to be putting It Takes Two on this list. For one reason, I haven't opened it. I know this game won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, but the reason why it's not going to be on my list is because, well, there were other games I was playing at the time, and as much as I really want to play it, I need a second player, and I don't have that many people to play it with me. I mean, my sister's working a lot, I'm working a lot. I know I could just play this game online with another player, but I don't want to play with some random stranger I don't know. So, as much as I would love to play this game, I need a second player. And I'm not exaggerating. You need a second player to play this. So that's why you're not going to be seeing it on the list. One day I will play it. It's just I didn't have enough time to play it. But yeah. Anyways, before I get into it, I have a couple of honorable mentions I'm going to shout out, which include Halo Infinite and Shin Megami Tensei 5. I really enjoyed Halo Infinite. I just didn't like it as much as the other 10, and I haven't gotten that far into Shin Megami Tensei 5, but I have been enjoying it. So, without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting things off at number 10, I have Returnal. This is a really fun and inventive roguelike game. You play as a woman named Celine, and you fight off against waves of enemies, and you are going to die a lot throughout this game. It's basically like last year's game, Hades. You're going to die a lot in this game, but it's the type of game that rewards you for dying over and over. I mean, basically you figure out what you can do better and stuff like that. The game was a lot of fun, and it shows what the PS5 is capable of with the controller and the graphics and all that. But the reason why it's not any higher is because of the one fatal flaw, the fact that you can't save, which is why I haven't gotten that far into the game. I made a video talking about it. It wasn't a review, it was a discussion, basically my impressions of the game. I think the game is a lot of fun, and it could have been capable of the game of the year, but the fact that you can't save was kind of an issue. But nonetheless, I thought it was a really fun time. At my number 9 spot, I have kind of a biased choice for this list, but I have to put Persona 5 Strikers on here because I'm a huge fan of the franchise, especially Persona 5. I just love the fact that this isn't just a spin-off, but also a true sequel to one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. The combat in this game was just so fun. It's like Persona 5, just in the Dynasty Warriors type style, and if you weren't a fan of the turn-based combat, I mean, it really wasn't that much of an issue. It was actually still a lot of fun. But the combat here, it's so well paced and just so satisfying. There's a lot of quests you can do, and it's basically just like what made Persona 5 a great game. Although I didn't like the story quite as much as in the game, and it's not as long, but I didn't really expect it to be as long because the whole game takes place in the summer, and that's completely okay. It has great new characters and just fun, hack and slash combat that left me on the edge of my seat and just left me really satisfied. I had a really fun time with this one. Now, coming in at number 8, I have Psychonauts 2, the long-awaited sequel that was more than worth the wait. While it can't quite hold a candle to the original in terms of story, I mean, the story was still good, and I just would have liked to seen, like, all the characters come back. And some of the new ones I thought were eh, But the return of older characters was definitely a sight to behold. And the new power ups you get, and the way the game looks, and it still has the nostalgic feel of the original game. And the fact that it took so long for them to finally release a sequel. I mean, the first game was a critical hit, but wasn't a commercial hit. So, knowing the fact that fans wanted a sequel, it might have never actually happened, but Microsoft managed to do it with this game. And it was on Game Pass too. So, yeah, and this is the game that made me get a Game Pass account. And I'm glad I got a Game Pass account because there are other games that I got to play on Game Pass, new games. So, yeah. Psychonauts 2, I had a really fun time with. It's one of my favorite platforms of the year, and this isn't the only platformer that's going to be on here. Now, coming in at my number 7 spot, I have Deathloop. I'm not even close to finishing this game yet because it's pretty difficult, and I can definitely see why tons of critics have put it like on really high spots, and some even say that it is Game of the Year. But while I do think this is a very fun and creative first-person shooter, I really enjoy the characters and the combat and the way you play. Just like Returnal, you're gonna die a lot throughout the game, and you basically have to fight against, you have to kill like 7 main guys in like 3 days or so. And it's something that you're gonna get frustrated a lot, or I got frustrated with a lot, because there are certain things you have to do in order for you to fully, succeed at doing so. But you know what? I might not be able to finish this game anytime soon. I mean, a lot of people have managed to finish it, but it's just the type of game that I need to memorize a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's still a fun game. It would have been a lot higher if I did manage to finish it, but that's not to say this game is bad, because it's really good. It's really fun, and I do think you should play it. It's one of those games that I'm probably not going to finish anytime soon because of how badly I am at the game, but it is one that one of these days I do want to play. It has one of the best video game villains of the year. At my number 6 spot, I have Resident Evil 8 Village. People have been talking about this game a lot. A lot of people were satisfied. I was really satisfied with this. This is the conclusion to Ethan Winters' story. So, and there is talks about what's going to happen in the next game, because people are saying that his daughter is going to be the next new Resident Evil protagonist and stuff like that. I know I'm spoiling a lot, but basically the biggest thing this game was going for was Lady D. And despite the fact that she's not the full main villain of the game, there's still a lot to love about this game, including that freaky baby scene. Like, oh my god. While the game does have a lot of action, just like a lot of the other modern Resident Evil games did, and that caused a lot of memes and stuff, a lot of people thinking that the franchise is dead, the game still did not shy away from horror. It still has that horror vibe. It still manages to be creepy with its atmosphere and the new world. It all just looked phenomenal. It's easily my pick for best horror game of the year. I mean, I don't see why it couldn't be. But yeah, Resident Evil 8 is one of the most talked about games of the year, and people say it's one of the best of the year, and I do think it's one of the best of the year. At my number 5 spot is an RPG that might fly under people's radars, but hey, the game managed to steal the award for Best RPG of the Year at the Game Awards, Tales of Arise. I'm a big fan of JRPGs as well as action games, and this game is a mixture of both. It kind of reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles a little bit, just not on a Nintendo console. But this game was just so much fun. I spent 50 hours into this game, and I did not want to finish it until I finished like all the side quests and stuff like that. I wanted to get like all the owls to collect in the game and stuff like that. This game was just so much fun. While it doesn't have quite as much memorability as other big mainstream JRPGs do, like Xenoblade Chronicles, like I mentioned before, or Shin Megami Tensei, or Persona, or Final Fantasy, this game was still a lot of fun. And I did not know this game was based on a franchise. It's basically based off the Tales of series, like there's Tales of Symphonia and stuff like that. The franchise was starting to go downhill a little bit, but this game truly saved it. The graphics for the PS5 look absolutely outstanding, and it does have quite a bit of memorable characters, and it does have a story building perspective with cutscenes and stuff like that. While they aren't fully well, like there are quite a bit of spelling errors here and there in all of them, but it didn't ruin the experience. I thought the gameplay was still fun, and the story wise, it's pretty solid enough, and I just had a lot of fun with this, and it's one of the best RPGs I played this year. At number 4, I have probably the best PS5 exclusive of the year, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. If you loved the 2016 game, then I think you're going to love this game even more. I had so much fun with this game. It defied my expectations with its story and its new characters as well. Playing as both Ratchet and Rivet was a true blessing, and the game never shied away from gameplay either. It was still very engaging. I really liked the introduction of Rivet and the way they're both from different worlds and stuff like that, and the manner that they come together when it gets to that. It was all just so much fun to see, and it's gorgeous to look at too. I played on 30 FPS just so I couldn't sacrifice, the quality, like the full out quality of the game, because I wanted to play this. I wanted to look as best as possible, and it did. And despite it being 30 FPS, at least in my perspective, the game still never looked dull a single bit. I had so much fun with this game, with its new weapons, its fun bosses, and fun level design. Its mixture of shooting and platforming was such a blessing to behold. I love this game. It truly made me a big fan of the series now. I want to go back and play the old games to see what exactly I've been missing out on after playing this. At my number 3 spot, I have probably my favorite RPG of the year, Monster Hunter Rise. Nintendo fans and Monster Hunter fans have really been waiting a long time for a true new Nintendo Monster Hunter experience, and I think they're definitely going to be really satisfied with Monster Hunter Rise, with new bosses and new ways to play, brand new mechanics, and some new sidekicks too, like you can bring both a cat and a dog throughout your journey. It was just so much fun. The new worlds and stuff like that, and the fact that we're going to get another expansion just like we did with Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I had so much fun playing online with other friends and stuff like that. The monsters were still just as frustrating to fight as ever, but getting the right weapons and getting the right people to help you out, it was just all so very satisfying. I wasn't that big into Monster Hunter because I sucked at the game, but I got a lot better as I played the game, and after playing this, I wanted to go back and beat the story to Monster Hunter World, and I did. I just had so much fun, and Monster Hunter Rise was truly a hell of a great time, and truly one of the best that the beginning of the year had to offer. Now, I did not expect a racing game to be this high on the list, because I'm not really one to racers, other than Mario Kart, because, hey, that's a racing game with Mario in it. But the Forza series, specifically Forza Horizon 5, the newest entry in the series, was... I gotta be honest, I had so much fun playing this game, and this game just... I mean, I did really enjoy Forza Horizon 4, but Forza Horizon 5, this might just be my new favorite racing game of all time. Not only are the graphics just... Holy crap, the graphics just... they just never looked better. Like, ever. And the gameplay, too. It's not just, a game where you just have different modes to race. No, this game actually has a story that allows you to explore a massive open world. And you can collect so many cars and stuff. And you can interact with other players and race against them. And there are so many different modes, too. You can customize your cars and the difficulty settings. You can switch which one, which makes it a game both for casual and hardcore gamers alike. It was just so much fun to do. I mean, this is basically one of the most realistic racing games out there, because stuff can actually happen in real life in this game. But unlike Mario Kart, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Mario Kart and all that, but there's just something about Forza Horizon that they just managed to get better with each game, and that's really surprising too, because in terms of Xbox franchises, some of them are starting to go downhill nowadays. Forza Horizon isn't doing anything like that. I just had so much fun playing this game, and it was such a shame when I had to finish the story, but honestly, I never really finished the story. I mean, I did, but there was still so much stuff to do in the game. And this is one of my new favorite Xbox games of all time, and I never finished Forza Horizon 4, and you know what? I want to go back and finish Forza Horizon 4 after finishing this. If you're a huge fan of racers and you're an Xbox guy, then I really think you should check out Forza Horizon 5, as well as the other games too. Forza Horizon 5 is probably my new favorite racing game of all time, and it definitely deserves my number 2 spot for Game of the Year. Alright guys, here it is. My favorite game of 2021 is not only the best game of the year, but the best platformer of the year, the most engaging and most glorious platformer, not just of the year, but of all time. And I don't really know what else to say. My favorite game of the year is none other than the one and only Balan Wonderworld. Would you get out of my life already? Metroid Dread is my favorite game of 2021. Wait. Okay, just making sure that didn't randomly turn into Balan Wonderworld again. Yeah, while I am exaggerating a little bit, this isn't the best platformer of all time, but I will say it's one of the best 2D Metroidvania games in a really long time. And the fact that Metroid pretty much invented that genre, this was just a blessing to behold. I think fans who were big into the old school Metroidvania games or the old school 2D Metroid games before Metroid Prime are going to be really happy with this one. And while I'm not going to lie, this game is hard as hell. I almost didn't get to finish this game, but because the game was so engaging with its environments and stuff, I just didn't want to stop. Despite those Emmys being a real pain in the ass, it didn't stop me from wanting to get all the power-ups and want to get to the final boss, which, by the way, is one of the best final bosses I've ever fought in a video game. Metroid Dread had it all. It has a lot going for it in terms of the music, the style, the gameplay. It's basically what old school fans love about the Metroid games. And while it's not Metroid Prime 4, it is definitely the best Metroid game in a really long time. It is definitely probably top 4 or 3 in my opinion, but Metroid Dread was a blast from beginning to end and is my pick for the best game of 2021. And that's it. That is my list for my top 10 favorite games of 2021. Let me know in the comments what your favorites were, what your number 1 favorite was. I had a lot of fun with all these games. Hopefully, this will be another great year for games. I mean, we got so many big ones. Breath of the Wild 2, Elden Ring, Horizon, Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok. Just so many new releases. Just, I cannot wait. I already got a lot of money saved up for these titles. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.